All right, so as you heard in the very fluffy, lovely biography that Josh read, I have had the pleasure and honor of serving as the CEO for Developmental Pathways. For the last 4 years, I've been there for 12, been in human services for over 15. And for those of you who don't know, Developmental Pathways will be 60 years old next year. We are the Community Center Board and the Case Management Agency for Arapahoe County, Douglas County, and Elbert County. By the end of this fiscal year, we will employ about 700 people, serving almost 18,000 individuals. Good. That was exactly the face I was looking for from the nice lady at table 3. What did he just say? I could not be more excited to get to work with the team that we get to work with each and every day at Developmental Pathways. It was very clear to me that I'm not allowed to advertise, talk about politics, or recruit. So I won't be recruiting for DP, although we're hiring about 200 folks right now. And I just want to make sure that we're on the up and up with that. You may see a group or two from DP. It's a wonderful group to get to work with. In addition to working there, you may also know me as a podcast celebrity. I've been on 2 podcasts this year with a total of over 10 listens. So thank you to my mom and the 9 staff that listened in. And I really appreciate getting to do that. But a lot of folks don't know who I am really and how I came to this work. So the reality is that I owe this opportunity to 2 sisters. I only have the one, but it's my sister, and we'll talk about her in just a little bit. And then Carl's sister. So in 2009, right, as we were looking at that timeline, I couldn't help but think about how long we've been working on things like conflict-free case management, and that was coming on the tails of the Great Recession in 2009 that changed everyone's jobs in this room, whether you worked in this field or not. But if you had a job, 2009 changed things for many, many of us. Well, it did me too. So my wife and I, my wife Allie, by the way, is here today. Say hi.
Oh, hi. Thanks.
Raise your hand.
Hi.
Pay for that when we get in the car. We had the honor of getting to move to Colorado or Arizona when we moved out of Texas. I don't want to disparage anything, but Texas is awful. And I mean, we're really just the armpit of America. And so, just kidding. It's a joke. That's Arkansas. I was there last week. I'll tell you about it later. But we had moved out to Colorado. Our business was booming. We owned a bunch of restaurants and family fun centers, and things couldn't be better until the Great Recession of 2009, when folks overnight decided that they weren't going to spend money on food or fun. We lost everything, literally. Lost every penny we had that was in the business. Lost our home, lost my company, like literally lost everything in 2009, 2010. So I was looking to do a thing, and somebody called me 17 days after I closed up, and she said, hey, I'd love for you to come help us to try and figure out how to get some things done here. She worked at a county human services organization. And I said, boy, I don't want to work for government, but thank you. And she said, well, how about you just come as a consultant and a contractor? And so that's what I did. And so I worked there for about a year, and in that time I started to consult for a whole heck of a lot of organizations. And Carl was supposed to be the consultant who helped to lead a 2-day strategic planning session for the CCB Partners Group and the Alliance Group. There were 2 sort of factions, right? Emotions had got the better of them, and there were 2 factions of CCB and provider agencies in Colorado back in the day. And so Carl was scheduled to come on a Wednesday and do a 2-day strategic planning session. And on Tuesday, Carl's sister passed away suddenly. And so Chris Collins, and it was Chris at the time, and a few other folks were looking. They had everybody flying in or driving in or getting ready to be in that area for the next 2 days to work together, because the state was sort of battling the two groups against each other. The emotions were sort of battling themselves, right? It was not a pretty picture. And so my boss at one of the organizations that I was a consultant for called in a panic and said, hey, we really need somebody to help. Really, really sorry. I'm swamped this week. There is not a chance that I'll be able to do it. I'm so sorry. Here are a couple of other options. About 3 hours later, called back. Nothing's working. We really, really need some help. Okay, I understand. So I'm really, really busy. I wish I could help you, but right, you guys will be all right. About 11 o'clock at night, Tuesday, I got another phone call from the other person running the CCB Partners group. Listen, no, really, there's nobody else that can do this. We'll pay you $5,000 cash each day that you come. And so at 8 o'clock the next morning, for the better part of 2 days to figure out what their strategic plan was going to be. From that, I got to do a lot of consulting in the CCB area, and from that, I was offered a job 12 years ago. So prior to that, I had no real experience of the work that you all, or that we all do each and every day. I now, 12 years later, feel like I have a really good understanding of it. And we recognized in our organization that we were still using a lot of the age-old feedback, the age-old information that had been passed down generation to generation. So that's why we're going to talk about it today. It's also a realization that we have been through a lot as an association, as an organization, developmental pathways, and I know yours has as well. Felt like just as soon as we got through the Great Recession, here came all the conflict-free case management stuff. We took a 50-year-old company and had to break it into pieces. We had to say goodbye to parts of our organization that are still today near and dear to me. Then as soon as we felt like we were starting to get through that, then old friend COVID knocked on the door and literally changed everything for us overnight. And no sooner did we feel like we're getting through that than now we are in the throes of this new thing that is a CMA and all of the Medicaid waivers coming together into one organization that will change the way that most of us do work. So it's a lot to try and sit with. It's a lot for us to digest. And I hope that this information is helpful to just get us in a slightly different space, because it did for developmental pathways. The team at DP is really terrific and is crushing it. Did I mention that? Not the 200 employees, I'm not going to talk about that one. Okay. We also feel like any rising tide raises all boats, and so we hope that that information will do the same here today. So at our organization, we believe in beginning with the end in mind. That's a Stephen Covey 7 Habits thing that I've been talking about for 25 years. So let me begin with the end in mind. My commitment to you is that I'll give you a refreshed perspective on those things. I hope to entertain you a little bit. I hope that there's a little bit of levity in the room as we do some audience participation things. If not, just fake it for me. And then I will also do a check-in at the end and make sure that I did what I said I would do. What I need from you, pretty simple, right? Give me 45 minutes of your time, participate openly, and then a standing ovation. 3 to 5 minutes. You know, that's not 35 minutes. I mean, you know. That seems reasonable, but we'll see. So in order to participate, we cannot multitask. So I need you to put your electronics away. That means close your laptops. We will have slides coming out. We will have sweats coming out. What? Sure. Oh, slides. We will have slides coming out. So all the information that I'm fixing to cover will be there in your inbox, I promise, by the time we are done with the conference-ish.
By tomorrow, by next week.
Or next week. That would be great. And turn your phones to silent, do all that good stuff, right? So everybody good? Yeah. Good? Electronics away? All right, everybody take out your phones. Okay, so no, for real, take out your phones, scan the QR code, or you can go to menti.com and enter this code. This is how we will be participating today.
All right, once you get that, yeah.
And once you're there, you're going to start to press the little thumbs up button. And I heard 350. Sure, not everybody's here or we're doing other things, so 300 is a good number. But if we get to 250 plus, then we'll move on. Stuck at 43. So for folks at the table that can help. Oh, wow, okay. What is it?
Mine just keeps going thumbs up on me.
This whole table in the front is just pushing as hard as they can because they want to get back to their rooms at 1:45. All right. 193. Come on. It's like the Jerry Lewis telethon. None of you are old enough to know what that is, but let's see if we can get that number up.
Finally got that.
199.
What are we supposed to have?
You have a heart now?
Yeah.
Does everybody have hearts?
No. Mine's a green thumb now.
Green thumb. Some are blue, some are hearts.
We're over 200.
Okay, we're over 200. Let's go. All right. So now you are going to answer questions in the Menti, the little Mentimeter thing. Okay. Question 1. What? Well, you can't answer already.
That was my fault. I didn't do so.
But you didn't answer all the. Okay. What is your role in your current organization? Are you an executive? Are you a manager or a supervisor of people? Are you an individual contributor, like a case manager, DSP, accountant, HR person, or other? So go ahead and answer now.
I said it. There it is. Plus. Exactly. Why isn't anything working?
Okay, so as expected, about 200 plus, right? Leaders, managers, and we've got about 30 or so as individual contributors and others. And for those of you who marked other, please see me at the end of this. Curious what that means or looks like. All right, question number 2. How long have you worked for your organization? Your choices are 0 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, or 11 to Tom's birthday. 20 for about 15 to 16. Right? Will somebody who, I know Tom doesn't have a cell phone because he's 100, but if you've got his email address, Sarah, you still talk to Tom? You still, every once in a while? Jen, oh yes, of course Jen's here. I saw her earlier. You did? Okay, that's exactly what I need. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's look at the results. Wow, there are more Tom Turners than I thought. Okay, but pretty close, right? Okay, good to know. Awesome. Question 3. Have you had a leadership coach or taken a leadership course? Yes or no? No. Thank you for asking, Jenna. Jenna asked a great question. in the organization that I'm in right now, or ever. The answer, the answer to her question is ever. So, have you ever had a leadership coach ever in your career, or taken a leadership course? That makes me very happy. Awesome. Okay, great. If you are a no and an other, for sure, sing it. Okay, next question. What one word best describes me? Hold on, you. So, you are answering the question. What one word best describes you, right? But if you read the question, it's me. One word, sweaty.
Yes.
Sweaty is, oh sorry, I'm going to give you your answer. It's
I just
whatever.
posted it, it's fine, it's up there.
Okay, great. Okay, anything you want. Remember, there could be small children in the room. Actually, I don't see any. Are there small children in the room? That'll be an appropriate question in just a minute. Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. It moves in real time, so if you get nauseous easily like me, feel free to look away. I do have, is the elevation kicking anybody else's ass? No, just me. One other person. Really, one other person? Oh, you too? Okay. Whew, man. Take a hit off the thing. That's what the kids say, Paul. I had to take a hit off the thing. Okay. So, what do you see? What are the words that are really coming out? So the way that this Menti thing works, fantastic, right? It's like one of those little Wordle, not a Wordle. My wife and I compete every morning, but like a word cloud. Thank you. Like a word cloud. So the bigger the word, the more times the thing came in. Does that make sense?
Oh, nice.
And if it's in the middle, is that the winner?
It is winner, chicken dinner.
Okay. Loyal, dedicated, passionate, driven,
Tired.
and tired. I thought it'd be a little bigger, if I'm being honest. Tired, determined, thoughtful, bless you, sneezy. Okay. Nerd is there for those that can't read it in the back. Makes me very happy. Fine. Okay, you did. Somebody wrote fine. Like, I'm not making that up. Somebody put fine. Oh, do you mean like I'm fine or I'm fine? Who was it? Come on. Oh, come on. Nobody's going to own it? Okay, you were sitting next to them when they typed it. Just put you like a little arrow over their head. Okay. All right, all good. And now I want you to type in the title of who your first leader was. Their title, not their name. Think back. You're very young. How can you not remember? Put the title of your first leader on the board.
You don't watch. Maybe later when you get to 200. You're not there yet.
Yeah, I got to do the wrist thingy at Disneyland, and I got to do the thing in the ear, take the pill. Like, I get so nauseous so easy. Woo. That's no good.
You're at 240.
So one of the reasons that I've grown to consider this last 12 years the honor of a lifetime is that I work with folks that are far too smart for their own good, including the folks in this room. This was a trick question. You sons of bitches. Like, you were not supposed to know that the answer was mom and dad, teacher, coach, right? But those are, what did he just call us? Like that kid, right? in the history of Alliance, Josh has literally never heard a speaker. Okay, so you were not supposed to get it, and most of you did. So high five, well done. It is who we learn from first, right? They are our leaders and our managers, our parents, our coaches, our teachers. And they tend to do their jobs the way that they were taught, parented, led, right? That's just the reality of the world. Not all of us. Sometimes we make a conscientious left or right turn. But for the most part, these are our very first leaders and managers. Okay, and then last but not least, when someone is just an absolutely awful person, and I want you to picture that person in your head. Do not call their names out. Would you best describe them as a jerk or as an asshole? Because there's a lot of talk in our organization.
That's great.
The fastest 235 answers you've ever received.
So, thank you for your honesty. You're literally trying to steal the joy out of it. So, we're using asshole. Because oh, okay. We don't have to change that slide a little bit later, so that's perfect. All right, so now help me finish this myth. Don't shout it out. Type it. No shout, type it. Okay? Ready? There's 4 of them. Everybody get excited. Never go to bed blank. Don't shout it out. There's one rule in the whole. You heard me, right? So don't shout it out. Never go.
You told me not to do the thing yet.
Oh,
Would you like me to? Okay, here we go. There you
Never go to bed.
Now type it.
Now type it. Sorry. Yep, that was on me. Just type it.
Oh, wow.
Don't say it.
I
When you need to pee, just in the spot. Okay, I don't even want to know what never go to bed wet means. That's not appropriate. Without an edible is also up there. You can see some of the other answers. Never go to bed clothed is pretty terrific. So it's big enough that it's standing out, but what does never go to bed Emily mean? But how many Emilys do we know that you're not allowed to? All right, that's all good. Okay. So yes, Big Blue, never go to bed? Angry. Yeah. Do we believe that that's true? False? Sort of. Shout it out. Sorry, shout this one out. Have her come sit up here. Are you okay? Are you all right? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. That's Emily, I think. Could be. It might not. Never go to bed angry. True, false? Sort of. Shout it out. Good. No. Now, of course, these are my opinions, right? Really, it's like a sort of. So let's just dive in for just a second.
Sorry, it gets weird.
It's not sorry. So she has to do like 5 things to go from Menti to that PowerPoint. And she was really worried that if she didn't do it in 4.2 seconds, we were all going to judge her. So can we just tell Darcy it's okay?
It's being really mean. If you were here at 10, I got it right.
Okay, you can see the, no you can't now. Yes, okay, beautiful light balance. We will be celebrating our 22nd anniversary this November. That's a big deal now, let me tell you all. Like that's like platinum or something when you get past 20. And COVID nearly wrecked our marriage. Sleeping in other bedrooms, not talking for days. Like COVID was really, really hard on us. Also at the same time, we had our oldest going off to college. The nerve. Our youngest was was instantly moving from being my best friend. Then he got 3 hairs in the places you know boys get at 13. And then he was suddenly the smartest guy in the room. He didn't want to do anything with us, right? Those things happening. I mentioned that we serve about 10,000 people a year right now. That was happening. Every day felt like Groundhog Day. We were in this weird time warp thing where I suddenly got to spend time around people that I have been wanting to spend more time with for a decade, and then I wanted to punch them in the face. Like Monday, I'm so glad we have more time together. Tuesday, I'm gonna punch you. Right? Like it just messed with the entire equilibrium of what we thought we had built as a family. And our marriage took the biggest brunt of it. So as a last-ditch effort, about a year in, we said, we at least have to tell the kids that we've done everything that we can do and that we've tried everything that we can try before we sit them down. And we did this silly little marriage retreat in Boulder with some guy who wanted to bring couples together for a big part of a day and talk about stuff. And the thing that stood out for us the most was, please always go to bed angry. If you feel there's an emotion attached to the thing, if you're really upset, right, about what that other person is doing, whether it's your partner, your child, somebody on your team, more often than not, it's a peer in our organizations, where there isn't a hierarchy that sort of helps to say, well, you know, Celeste gets her way because she's the CEO, right?
That's right.
Right? When that exists, and it's peers, right? We're peers. We know who's in charge in the marriage, but we are peers. Sorry, I meant her, just to clarify. And for the car and the way home, yes, okay, good. When you are peers, it's really hard to be able to pull apart the thing and the emotion. And we're all different. There are people on this planet that believe that the world is flat. Like, straight up, y'all. If you ever watch that Netflix special, put it in your queue. Holy mackerel, right? People just have different opinions and perspectives. There's a thing and then there's an emotion, right? Some people think that you load the dishwasher from the front to the back. Those people are crazy. Okay?
Get it in there.
But if you find yourself getting sideways about how the dishwasher's loaded, it's probably not the dishwasher, right? You're wrapped up into other stuff that adds into that emotion, and what you have to do is split. Take a moment, take a pause, do a timeout. It is both parties' responsibility, by the way, but especially the one that may have more responsibility in the relationship. It is your responsibility to say, you know what? I think that we need to recognize that this is not just about the thing. There's some underlying emotion here, and it could be mine, it could be yours, right? My dog just died. I've got horrible sciatic pain, whatever it is, right? It may not have anything to do with the two people that are going to quickly get sideways. So recognize that there's more in the moment, in the space, and separate. Start here, go here on the sides of the diamond. Agree that that's what's best, and say, and we're going to give it at least this much time. Both parties have to agree to come back to the bottom of that diamond. And when you do, you come together and you focus on the issue. You focus on the issue, you put the issue away, and then you talk about what you need to do to handle the emotion. Does that make sense? Okay, so jazz snapping. This table looks like they know what jazz snapping is. Especially you, sir. I'm not sure why. So Jody, can your team show us what jazz snapping is? Show the whole room. Go ahead.
We both did it immediately.
Okay, is there anybody in the room who knows what jazz golf clap. That one's kind of boring. Thank you, sir. Jazz snapping. It's like written poetry nonsense that you do in a coffee shop.
I thought that was called something else.
Sorry, unless you won't do it, then it's fantastic. Bless you. All right. So you got to separate. Are you okay? It's also sweaty. Emily, can you bring her some water, please? Remember that almost all conflict is about one thing. Communication. Lack of communication, a misunderstanding, right? Most conflict at work is about communication. So own that part of it as you're starting to work through. Also remember that emotion creates, right? Our brain's job is to keep us alive, not to keep us happy. Straight up, yo, right? So it's going to give you a fight, a flight, or a freeze. And I know there are, I didn't mean to look at you, David, when I said it. I know there are mental health professionals in the room. So there's maybe two other things that you would say, right? Some people can do all three at the same time. It's always fascinated me. But when you have that conflict that arises, that's the emotion saying conflict. Does not know the difference between like a mountain lion fixing to eat your kid, or they just loaded the dishwasher in the front first. Okay? So you have to recognize that emotion that you hold, right? That anxiety that you hold. And then sleep on it. So sleep on it doesn't mean ignore it. It doesn't mean, well, I heard, I'll let that go. Nope, not suggesting that at all. But you need to pause long enough that you're handling the issue, not the issue and emotion together, because nothing good comes from that. Okay? I'm going to take a quick sip of water, excuse me. Is it up there?
Yeah.
We're not going to advertise.
Yeah.
All right, myth number 2. Don't shout it out. Want you to type it. Myth number 2. If it ain't broke, you're kidding. Really, Maria? Wow, that went by really fast. Okay. All right, you all aren't getting a break, but I'm sure you'll be fine. Just kidding. Okay, myth number 2. If it ain't broke, are there funny ones on there? We don't have time for the funny ones now. We had too much fun with the first one.
I said pretend it's not there. Pretend it's okay.
Pretend it's okay is awesome. Don't break it.
Sorry.
Okay, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. True, false, sorta. False. We have 10 minutes left.
I know.
Very
I'm
upset.
sorry.
No, it's my fault. Yeah, mostly false. I think, right? But you know, silence is golden. If our staff's not complaining, everything must be just fine. If we haven't gotten a super mad email from mom today, everybody's delighted. We're just so happy, right? And we know intuitively that that's nonsense, right? But then we get so busy doing all that stuff that it's really, really hard to stop and think, boy, if it ain't broke, maybe it still needs a little fixing, right? So I would encourage you all to think about, let's go ahead, over, we're gonna speed up just a little bit.
I'm sorry. It's doing a thing.
You
It's
don't have to be
grumpy.
sorry, it's all good. Yeah, so, if you saw the pictures that they put up at the beginning, this was last year. That was a couple of weeks ago. Since the summit last year, I've lost 57 pounds. Got more applause than our marriage, but underlying message there. So, like most men in America, I decided that as long as Maria said take it off, so I thought, all right, I will show everybody. Just kidding, no she didn't. So I recognized, so I turned 50 in December, and I told myself at 49, I'm going to put a plan together. I'm going to be the healthiest I've been as an adult. Fast forward a year, I had gained more weight than I've ever gained. I've been heavy since I came out of the birth canal, as my mom would say. I've always struggled with my weight. And I was only on one little medication, and I could still go on rides with my kids. And you know, the doctor will tell me when I really have to start losing weight, or I'll have a heart attack, and then for sure I'll start to do it, right? That's it. For me, that was my, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I had to redefine how broke something was and how it wasn't. I had to redefine for myself what not being broke looked like. And for me, it was being able to play with my grandkids. And Allie and I got married later in life. She was 40 when we had our youngest. No, I was 39. And so I need to be around a lot longer to get to play with my grandkids. So I decided, like I would in a business, that I need to assess, plan, act, and control. So I assessed the situation, right? I put realistic expectations of myself in my plan. I then acted on that plan, and then I had to make constant tweaks. I had to constantly adjust, and that's the control part. So just because something's not broken doesn't mean that we don't need to at least assess and see if there are small spaces that we can move towards success after we've defined what that looks like. Does that make sense? Little golf clap if that makes sense. Maybe a little more golf clap. All right. Quick sip of water. Okay, now we're going to talk about myth number 3. Don't shout it out. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Don't say anything. Don't say everything is good. Don't be a cliche. Don't say F you. Yeah. Somebody wrote it out. Extra prize for those folks.
My favorite is something stupid.
Stupid, awesome. True, false, sort of. False. Sometimes true, it's sometimes true. When our grandparents' grandparents started to teach that, I'm sure that that was true. But over the years, we have misunderstood it, especially in business and especially since the advent of smartphones and social media and Instagram, right? So now folks can give criticism as a troll or in a text or in an email. And is that a good way to give any sort of a criticism?
No.
Heck no. So the real question is, how would you define nice? It's true, if you define nice the way that we define it in our organization, which is affirmation is important. Criticism is an investment. We all need affirmation. We all need to hear, great job, when we've done it. What we often lack, especially in areas of human services, social workers, where we care for the other person, is the criticism, the critique, the critical feedback, the constructive feedback, the constructive conscientious criticism. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, what we're talking about is telling folks that didn't quite meet the expectation, that didn't quite get us where we needed to get. That's where we're lacking in so many of our organizations. So we have to commit to being able to do that. Not just that, because then you're an asshole, right? But we want to invest in folks to get them where they need to be. I am going to skip a story about Fred's mom because I'm running short on time. Bree and I are just being mean. And trust me, it's fantastic. I'll tell you later. But I do want you to just see this little clip from my close personal friend, because we're both podcasters, Bree or Brene Brown, as I'm going to call it.
Ready?
Go.
What behavior change that you think all leaders need is one?
It's going to be simple. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Stop avoiding the tough conversations because you think you're being polite or kind to people. That's not kind.
Right?
Yep.
Make sense? Okay. So remember that both parties are responsible for clarity. We have to own our part in that as well, right? So it has to be open and two-way. Feedback's got to be two-way, right? Ask them for self-feedback. In our organization, I always get the individual who recognizes more than I even recognized when we sit down for debriefs and feedback. So ask them first. They'll own it more when they recognize that it's them. Agree with the points, clarify others, couch in growth and support. Let them know why you're investing in them. And then balance it. Can't be everything all at once. got to be a little here and a little there, right? Where are the most important areas? So think about it a little different, right? If you don't have anything nice to say, be kind and criticize. All right, what is the golden rule? I'm going to have you just, sorry, we got to run. We got to run. A couple minutes. Shout out the golden rule to me. Love it. That was a couple ago, but good. Great. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Oh, are we still? No, I just told. Okay, we're good. So here's the thing. That works for most groups, not most folks in this room. Because you're caregivers, because you're social workers, because you put others first. So I would actually ask you to treat yourself the way you treat others. Oh, snap. Okay? Straight up, for a hot minute, you need to treat yourself the way you treat others. Because you don't. Unless you're Fred's mom, who was an asshole. But now you'll never know, because Maria has her son. Just kidding, it's unreasonable. I mean, it is, but it's mine. It's all right. Okay, so I also want you to think about, not type it in because we don't have the time, but I want you to think about and then share at your tables later on how you practice self-care. Because self-care is treating others, treating yourself the way you treat others. An empty pitcher cannot fill up a glass. And for the majority of us in this room that are leaders, your job is to fill. And you can't fill with an empty pitcher. So you have to take care of yourself. And because we're so bad at it, we're literally going to practice it right now. So everybody please stand up and pair off. This works best if you pair off with somebody who you cannot stand. Is that all right? All right, so now you're going to pair off. Pair off, hold hands. Honey, do I have permission to do this with another woman? If you need to add a third, it's okay. But everybody's got to have a partner. Josh, you've got a partner coming in hot. Right there. Let's get on it. All right. Now, person one. You know who you are, just naturally. Person one, you are going to look in person two's eyes. And you are going to give them a compliment. Person two. You are not allowed to do or say anything for 30 seconds. Ready? Go. Person two, compliment to person one. Person one, you cannot say anything back. I need one more minute. So, in the slides, there'll be a little bit more information. They'll also recap for you, right, all of the different things that we talked about. Super comfortable in that?
No.
Okay.
30 seconds.
So I will share with all of you, my colleagues, my friends, that I've given my board of directors a 5-year glide path. So end of 2028. Apologies for any DP member that's here that's hearing that for the first time. But in 2028, my plan is, now that I'm dating my wife again, we're empty Mr. Lights, is to be a snowbird, to go back to speaking and consulting. I'd like to own a corn dog park. You too? Shut your mouth. And I want to be a bald Santa.
You lost me on that one.
Did you know?
I think. And I want to be the guy that I saw on TV the other day who does that at children's hospitals all over the world for kids that are dying. Like, that's what I want to do. And when I told my wife that after I watched it the other day, she's like, I said, but I really don't think I've got it in me. And she said, if anybody does, you do. So I will just end by telling you that my little sister, who you may have seen on a slide or two, right? The two sisters. This is her when she worked at the White House with Clinton. And that's her telling my kids, thank you for the bracelets, 8 days before she passed away from her disabilities. It's been almost 10 years now. But she is my inspiration. I encourage each of you to think about who inspires you to work in this field. When you need to fill your buckets, when you need to provide yourself with that self-care, please think of that person and do it for them, because you won't do it for yourselves. Think of that person. Think of your responsibility. And please know that on behalf of everyone that's been around for a minute, which I count myself now in the 12 years, Colorado and the IDD system, the system for disabilities, is better because of each and every one of you and the work that you do every single day. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I appreciate that you gave me just a couple more minutes than I was supposed to have to talk to you all today about refreshed perspectives. Thanks very much.